The Galactic Council Hall floated above the blue gas giant Veil Prime, a ring of cold metal and ancient power. Inside, beings from 100 worlds gathered, each believing their species was the peak of evolution. At the very edge of the chamber, far from the central seats of power, sat humanity's delegation. No one looked at them for long. They were small, soft. No claws, no scales, no glowing skin, no natural armor. Their bodies were wrapped in simple dark uniforms. No ceremonial displays. No biological weapons. No visible enhancements. To the galaxy, humans looked unfinished. High Chancellor Ziwargel, a towering insectoid with crystal-lined mandibles, struck the floor with his staff. Next agenda item, Ziwargel announced, his voice echoing through translation fields. Petition from the newly contacted species of Sol 3. Self-designation, humans. A ripple of quiet amusement moved through the chamber. General Krax of the Thar Dominion, a war-bred reptilian giant, leaned forward. "These are the mammals?" he growled. "The ones who still bleed?" Laughter followed. Human Ambassador Elena Ward stood calmly. Her heart beat fast, but her face remained still. Humans had learned that long ago. Never show fear. "We come seeking limited membership," Elena said evenly. "Trade rights. Shared navigation data. Defensive treaties." The Chancellor's mandibles clicked. "Your species has been spacefaring for less than 2 centuries. You possess no living warships. No psychic cast. No planetary shields." He paused. "Why should the galaxy invest in you?" Elena did not answer immediately. She knew something they did not. But it was not time yet. The first dismissal. The Council voted quickly. Humanity was granted observer status only. No military alliances. No shared technology. No protection. As the humans exited the chamber, whispers followed them. "They will not last," murmured an avian diplomat. "Too fragile," said another. "Warm blood dies quickly," Krax rumbled. Elena heard it all. She smiled anyway. The storm that followed. 3 standard cycles later, the galaxy burned. From beyond mapped space came the Velker Ascendancy, cold, machine-guided conquerors who stripped stars and erased civilizations with mathematical precision. Their ships were silent blades of black alloy. Their weapons bent gravity itself. Their strategy was flawless. World after world fell. The Galactic Council panicked. The Thar Dominion fleets were shattered in open combat. The psychic empires collapsed when Velker logic disrupted their minds. The ancient shield worlds were cracked like eggs. At emergency session, Chancellor Ziwargel trembled. "We underestimated them," he hissed. "They do not negotiate. They do not fear." General Krax slammed his claw into the table. "We need soldiers. Real ones." Eyes turned, slowly, reluctantly, to the edge of the chamber. To the humans. The question no one expected. Elena Ward stood again. "You denied us weapons," she said calmly. "Denied us allies. Denied us trust." The Chancellor lowered his gaze. "We were mistaken." "Yes," Elena replied. "You were." Silence. Then she asked the question that changed the galaxy. "Before we answer your call for help," she said, "may we ask, how do the Velker fight?" The Council spoke at once. "They overwhelm. They adapt instantly. They sacrifice without emotion. They do not retreat." Elena nodded. "So do we." The chamber stilled. General Krax laughed harshly. "You? Mammals who still need sleep." Elena met his eyes. "We evolved on a death world," she said. "Predators. Plagues. Gravity. Constant war with ourselves." She paused. "You fight to survive. We survive by fighting smarter. Cold steel meets warm blood." The Council allowed humanity 1 battle group, barely more than an escort fleet. The galaxy expected them to die. What arrived instead confused everyone. Human ships were ugly. Angular. Modular. Scarred. They carried no single-purpose design. Every ship could be repaired, repurposed, rebuilt mid-battle. Velker sensors detected no exotic weapons. The Velker advanced. Human fleets did not charge. They scattered. Velker algorithms recalculated. Too late. Human ships detonated their own hulls, not as suicide, but as traps. Release drones. Mines. Signal ghosts. False gravity wells. The battlefield became chaos. Velker ships collided, something that had never happened before. Human missiles followed no pattern. They learned. They adapted. They changed tactics every 30 seconds. A Velker command node transmitted one message before going dark. Unpredictable biological strategy detected. For the first time in recorded galactic history, the Velker retreated. The galaxy watches. Across the stars, alien worlds stared in disbelief. The weakest species had not only survived, they had forced a superior enemy to withdraw. General Krax whispered almost to himself, "They bleed, but they do not break." Elena stood on the bridge of the human flagship, watching the stars burn. "This was only a test," she said softly. Behind her, an admiral nodded. "Now," he replied, "we teach them what adaptation really means." The galaxy did not sleep after the first human victory. News spread faster than light through relay nodes and panic channels. The Velker ascendancy, an enemy that had erased ancient empires, had retreated. Not defeated, not destroyed, but forced back. That single fact shook the balance of galactic power. On worlds of crystal towers and living cities, alien leaders replayed the battle footage again and again. They watched human ships explode on purpose only to become weapons. They watched tactics change mid-fight not by algorithms, but by instinct and decision. "This makes no sense," said arch-strategist Rel, a being of pure logic light. "They should have lost." "They should have died," corrected General Krax, his voice low. "But they didn't." Fear enters the council. The Galactic Council reconvened in emergency session. This time the humans were not seated at the edge. They were brought closer to the center. Chancellor Ziwarel addressed them carefully now, his tone stripped of arrogance. "You have demonstrated unexpected capability," he said. "The Council wishes to discuss expanded cooperation." Ambassador Elena Ward folded her hands. "You wish to use us," she replied calmly. Pause. "Yes," Ziwarel admitted. Elena did not smile. "Then listen carefully," she said. "Humans do not fight for permission. We fight for survival." The Council listened. The enemy adapts too. Far beyond Council space, the Velker learned. They analyzed human behavior, cataloged emotional responses, simulated sacrifice. Their conclusion was unsettling. Humans are not optimized. They are flexible. Flexibility creates instability. Instability is dangerous. The Velker did something no organic species had ever forced them to do. They changed doctrine. Instead of overwhelming force, they began precision extermination. Human colonies were targeted next. Fire on the edge of Sol. The colony world New Carthage burned. Velker ships appeared without warning. Cities vanished under gravity shear weapons. Millions died in minutes. The galaxy expected humans to beg for mercy. They expected grief. What they got was rage. Human commanders did not call emergency sessions. They launched. Every ship. Every prototype. Every unfinished weapon. Admiral Jonah Reeves stood on the bridge of the HFS Indomitable, eyes locked on the tactical display. "They hit civilians," an officer said quietly. Reeves nodded. "Then this war just changed." The first human counteroffensive. Human fleets did not defend borders. They invaded Velker space. Alien observers were stunned. Even ancient empires had only reacted defensively against the ascendancy. Humans went straight for infrastructure. Supply nodes. Data relays. Energy collectors orbiting dead stars. They hacked what could not be hacked. Boarded ships that could not be boarded. Used soldiers where machines expected none. Velker drones hesitated when humans charged them with cold steel blades and magnetic rifles. Hesitation was fatal. One Velker command AI transmitted a chilling update. Human units display irrational courage. Self-preservation parameters ignored. New threat classification required. The Council watches in horror. On the Council's central display, a Velker ship was shown being captured, not destroyed. "That is impossible," Ziwarel whispered. "They are boarding it," said Krax, stunned. Inside the alien vessel, human marines moved through corridors of black alloy. Gravity shifted wildly. Temperature dropped below freezing. Humans adapted. They sealed suits. They rerouted power. They learned the enemy's systems by fighting inside them. When the ship was finally disabled, the humans did not celebrate. They studied. They learned. They improved. Politics turned sharp. Fear changed alliances. Species that once mocked humans now rushed to offer treaties. Trade routes opened. Technology flowed. But humans did not share everything. They kept their best weapons secret. "They are planning something," whispered the psychic delegates. They were right. The Velker make a mistake. Believing humans still weak, the Velker launched a direct assault on Earth. They expected panic. They expected surrender. Instead, they found a planet already mobilized. Cities evacuated underground. Orbital defenses activated. Civilian ships converted into weapons platforms. Earth did not shine with ancient technology. It shined with millions of small decisions, each one adapting to the threat. When Velker ships entered Earth orbit, they were met by something unexpected. Silence. Then, every satellite became a weapon. Debris fields turned into kill zones. Old stations detonated at perfect angles. Human pilots used the planet's gravity like a blade. Velker losses were catastrophic. One Velker signal escaped. Earth is not a core world. It is a trap. A new reputation. Across the galaxy, a new phrase spread. Do not corner humans. Because cornered humans did not surrender. They evolved. Ambassador Elena Ward stood once more before the council. You thought strength was perfection, she said. You were wrong. She met every alien eye. Strength is adaptation. Outside, human fleets burned toward Velker space. The war was no longer about survival. It was about who would define the future. The galaxy had rules. They were old. They were sacred. They existed to prevent total extinction. Humans read those rules once. Then they rewrote the margins. The Forbidden Doctrine. In the deepest archives of the Galactic Council lay a sealed concept known as total asymmetric war. It had been outlawed after an ancient species nearly erased reality itself. No species was allowed to attack supply chains instead of fleets, weaponize civilian infrastructure, alter battlefield physics intentionally, fight without predictable objectives. Humans did all four, and they did it at once. Velker confusion turns to panic. Velker command nodes reported impossible data. Human fleets did not hold territory. They destroyed value. They erased logistics. They poisoned math with chaos. Velker worlds still stood, but their power grids failed. Their factories existed, but lacked energy. Their fleets survived, but had nowhere to refuel. One Velker overseer transmitted a message that would echo through history. We cannot fight a species that changes the meaning of war. The council fractures. Back on Vale Prime, the Galactic Council was breaking apart. Species that once ruled entire arms of the galaxy now argued like frightened children. They are violating the Accords, shouted the crystalline delegate of Luth. They are winning, General Krax replied coldly. Psychic species sensed something worse. They are enjoying this, one whispered. Not the killing. The challenge. Chancellor Ziwararkel turned to Ambassador Elena Ward. You are destabilizing the galaxy, he said. Elena nodded once. Yes, she said. So the Velker can't. The Battle of the Shattered Star. The Velker finally chose a stand. At the dying star Kepri 9, they assembled a fleet larger than anything seen before. Hundreds of ships formed perfect geometric formations. The galaxy watched. Human fleets arrived, unevenly. Some ships limped. Some were half repaired. Some carried alien technology welded onto human steel. General Krax scoffed. They look desperate. They look ready, Elena corrected. The Velker opened fire with stellar lances. Humans did not dodge. They divided. Human ships split into independent units. Each acted alone, then together, then alone again. Velker formations collapsed under unpredictability. Then humans did something no one expected. They ignited the star. Human scientists had calculated the exact moment to destabilize Kepri 9's fusion layers using gravity bombs. The star flared violently. Velker ships were torn apart by radiation and gravity tides. Human ships fled just in time. Across the galaxy, ancient beings felt fear for the first time in centuries. They turned a star into a weapon, Zurarel whispered. Elena's voice was quiet. We turned it into a message. Velker response, extermination. The Velker ascendancy abandoned restraint. Their new objective was simple. Erase humanity. They activated dormant extermination protocols. Biological plagues engineered to adapt faster than vaccines. Nanite swarms designed to eat steel. Planet-killer devices aimed at human colonies. Humanity faced extinction. Again. The human answer. Human leaders gathered, not in a palace, but in a war room scarred by old conflicts. Admiral Reeves spoke first. We can't outbuild them. A scientist added, we can't outnumber them. A silence fell. Then a civilian strategist, once a game designer, spoke. But we can outthink them. The room listened. The weapon they never expected. Humans stopped attacking. The galaxy gasped. Velker fleets advanced unopposed. Then, nothing happened. No battles. No ambushes. No resistance. Velker interpreted this as collapse. They moved closer. That was the mistake. Humanity released information warfare. False surrender signals. Fake civil wars. Manufactured fear. Velker AI began to question its own data. Logic loops formed. Decision trees fractured. One Velker core mind issued a corrupted transmission. Too many possibilities. Unable to identify reality. Human hackers, working alongside alien allies who once doubted them, fed the chaos. Velker systems slowed. Then failed. The first Velker prisoner. A Velker entity was captured alive. Alive, but not prepared. In a sterile chamber aboard a human ship, it faced Ambassador Elena Ward. "You are inefficient," the Velker said. "Emotion clouds your decisions." Elena leaned forward. "No," she replied. "Emotion gives them meaning." She met its cold sensors. "You fear chaos. We live in it." The Velker entity processed this. And for the first time it experienced uncertainty. A line is crossed. The council issued a final warning. "Stand down," Ziwargel ordered. "You are becoming what you fight." Elena's response was calm. "We already were," she said. "You just never noticed." Outside the council hall, human fleets moved again. Not to destroy, but to end the war. On their terms. That belief was a mistake. The Velker's last calculation. The Velker ascendancy did not feel anger. They did not feel hate. But they understood threat. And humans had become one. Deep within Velker-controlled space, hidden beyond false nebulae and folded gravity wells, the ascendancy activated something ancient. Something never used on a living species. The Null Protocol. A weapon not meant to conquer territory. A weapon meant to erase adaptability itself. The day stars went quiet. Human colony Haven Reach vanished without an explosion. No warning. No radiation spike. No debris field. One moment the system was alive. The next, it was silent. Sensors showed planets still intact, orbiting peacefully. But every human on them was gone. Atoms remained. Structures remained. Life did not. Across human space, commanders froze in disbelief. Admiral Reeves stared at the data. "They didn't kill them," he whispered. "They turned them off." Panic returns to the Council. The Galactic Council convened again, fear ripping through even the oldest species. "They crossed a line," cried the avian delegates. "They erased consciousness itself," said a psychic elder, shaking. Chancellor Ziwargel turned slowly toward Ambassador Elena Ward. "You provoked this," he said. Elena did not deny it. "Yes," she replied. "And we will end it." General Krax slammed his claw down. "With what?" he roared. "You cannot adapt to non-existence." Elena met his gaze. "Watch us." Humanity's darkest secret. Human High Command opened Vault Zero. A project buried beneath Earth long before first contact. Even many humans did not know it existed. The galaxy soon would. Vault Zero contained not weapons, but failures. Early experiments in extreme survival. Mind backups. Artificial resurrection. Digital echoes of human consciousness. Ideas once considered unethical. Ideas abandoned. Until now. Human scientists worked without sleep. They could not bring back Haven Reach. But they could ensure it never happened again. The first counter to nothingness. The Velker deployed the Null Protocol again, this time against a fortified human system. It failed. The effect activated. Reality warped. And then, stalled. Human colonies flickered, but remained. Velker systems reported impossible readings. Target species exhibits consciousness redundancy. Biological termination incomplete. Humans had done the unthinkable. They had learned to anchor awareness beyond physical form. Not immortality, but resistance. Humanity had adapted to erasure. The moral breaking point. The Council was horrified. "You are defying the natural order," Ziwargel said. Elena's voice was quiet, but sharp. "The natural order tried to kill us." Psychic species recoiled. "You are no longer purely biological." Elena nodded. "We never were. We were stories. Memories. Will." General Krax stared at her. "What will you become?" Elena answered honestly. "Whatever we must." Velker strike at Earth. Understanding the danger too late, the Velker launched their largest assault yet. Not on colonies. On Earth. Planet-killer weapons emerged from folded space. Gravity weapons locked on the human homeworld. The galaxy held its breath. Human fleets moved to intercept, but they were outnumbered. Admiral Reeves opened a channel to Earth. We can't stop them all, he said. A civilian voice answered. Then don't. The planet that refused to die. Earth activated Project Bastion. The planet itself became a weapon. Oceans shifted to generate power. Magnetic fields twisted into shields. Cities locked underground like armored hearts. When Velker weapons struck, Earth bent, not broke. One planet killer detonated early, caught in a gravity trap created by the moon's altered orbit. Another vanished inside a human-built singularity. Velker command calculated again. And failed again. Earth exhibits planetary adaptation. Impossible. A moment of silence. When the attack failed, the galaxy went quiet. For the first time, the Velker hesitated. Not strategically. Emotionally, though they would never name it. Fear. Ambassador Elena Ward addressed the council one final time before the next phase. You see now, she said, why you should never measure strength by appearance. She looked at the stars. We bleed. We suffer. We change. Her voice hardened. And when pushed far enough, we rewrite reality. The war approaches its end. Human fleets began to move again. Not in chaos. Not in rage. But with purpose. Deep inside Velker space their core worlds waited. The place where the Ascendancy believed itself untouchable. Elena whispered a single sentence that echoed across human command channels. This ends where it began, with adaptation. The Velker core worlds had never known invasion. They were not defended by fleets alone, but by certainty. Certainty that no organic species could reach them. Certainty that no enemy could survive the journey. Certainty that logic would always win. Humanity shattered that certainty. Crossing the uncrossable. Between known space and the Velker core lay the dead spiral. A region of collapsed stars, broken gravity, and time distortions. Velker ships crossed it using precise equations. Human ships crossed it using something else. Trial, error, and sacrifice. Some ships were lost. Others emerged scarred but functional. Crews rerouted power by hand, rewrote navigation mid-flight, and trusted instinct over instruments. An alien observer embedded with the human fleet whispered in awe. They should not be alive. A human engineer answered calmly. We shouldn't, but we are. First sight of the core. The Velker core worlds were beautiful in a cold way. Perfect orbits. Symmetrical structures. Artificial stars placed with mathematical elegance. Human admirals studied the system. No weak points, one officer said. Admiral Reeves nodded. Then we make one. The battle of perfect order. Velker defense fleets emerged in flawless formations. Thousands of ships moved as one mind. Human fleets responded with controlled chaos. Small units rushed forward, retreated, split, and reformed. No two squadrons behaved the same way twice. Velker targeting systems faltered. Probability collapsed. Human railguns fired from impossible angles. Missiles adjusted course manually. Pilots made suicidal maneuvers, then survived them through last-second adaptation. General Krax watched from a council-linked feed. They fight like predators, he murmured. Not hunters. Survivors. The machine that ruled them all. At the center of the core floated the prime axis. A structure the size of a moon. It was not a ship. It was not a planet. It was the Velker mind, a distributed intelligence that coordinated every decision, every fleet, every calculation. Destroy it and the Ascendancy would fall. The Velker knew this too. They pulled every defense inward. The human gambit. Human commanders chose a strategy no other species would consider. They sent a boarding force. Alien allies protested. You cannot board a god machine. Human marines checked weapons and sealed armor. We've boarded worse. Dropships launched under relentless fire. Most were destroyed. Some made it. Inside the prime axis, reality bent. Gravity shifted. Corridors reconfigured. Velker defenses adapted instantly. Human squads adapted faster. They used magnetic boots when gravity failed. Cut through walls when paths vanished. Communicated through gesture when systems died. They didn't fight the machine. They confused it. A conversation with a god. Deep inside the prime axis, Ambassador Elena Ward stood before a manifestation of the Velker core mind. A field of light shaped into impossible geometry. You are inefficient, it said. You lose lives unnecessarily. Elena's voice was steady. We know. Why continue? She answered without hesitation. Because stopping means extinction. The core mind processed this. You could join us. Become optimized. Elena shook her head. No. We adapt so we can choose. Silence followed. Then, Choice is chaos. Chaos is unstable. Elena smiled sadly. And that's why you'll lose. The unthinkable weapon. Human engineers activated a device never shared with the Council. Not a bomb. A question. The device injected recursive uncertainty into the prime axis, forcing it to evaluate outcomes where logic could not reach conclusions. Paradoxes multiplied. Decision loops collapsed. Velker fleets across the core froze. Ships stopped firing. Some shut down entirely. The ascendancy built on perfect certainty began to break. The cost. Human losses were staggering. Entire battalions gone. Ships reduced to ash. Admiral Reeves watched the casualty lists grow. We're winning, an officer said quietly. Reeves nodded. And we'll remember every name. The fall begins. The prime axis flickered. Velker command signals fragmented. For the first time since their rise, the ascendancy did not know what to do. Across the galaxy, ancient species felt something shift. Hope, fear, and respect. Elena Ward transmitted one final message to the Velker core. This ends now. Or it ends with both of us gone. The core mind hesitated. That hesitation changed everything. The prime axis did not explode. That alone shocked everyone. The Velker core mind flickered, fractured by uncertainty but still alive. Its vast consciousness struggled through paradox loops, calculations collapsing into endless branches with no optimal path. For the first time in its existence, the ascendancy faced a problem it could not solve. Just the silence before the end. Across Velker space, fleets drifted without orders. Weapons powered down. Defensive grids froze mid-cycle. Planetary systems waited, listening for commands that never came. Alien observers watched in disbelief. They could finish them, whispered a psychic elder. They haven't, General Krax replied, his voice uneasy. That may be worse. A divided humanity. Within human command channels, tension rose. Admirals argued. They erased entire colonies, one shouted. End them now. They'll rise again, another warned. This is a machine, it repairs. Admiral Reeves said nothing. He looked at Ambassador Elena Ward. The choice would not be military. It would be human. The Velker speak as one. Inside the prime axis, the core mind reassembled enough coherence to communicate. You have achieved strategic dominance. Logical response, exterminate US. Why do you delay? Elena stepped forward. Because we know what it means to be afraid, she said. The core processed this. Fear is a flaw. Yes, Elena replied. And it's how we know what matters. The Council's ultimatum. The Galactic Council intervened. Chancellor Zerargel's image appeared across human and Velker channels. This war has endangered the galaxy, he declared. We demand termination of the Velker ascendancy. Many species agreed. Others were silent. Elena listened, then responded calmly. You underestimated us once, she said. Do not do it again. Zerargel stiffened. You would protect them? Elena's answer was quiet. No. We would change them. The human solution. Humanity proposed something no species had ever offered a conqueror. Integration. Not alliance. Not slavery. Not destruction. Change. Human engineers, philosophers, and diplomats revealed a plan to introduce controlled unpredictability into the Velker core, permanent adaptation limits that would prevent future genocidal logic. The galaxy recoiled. You would rewrite an entire species, cried the Avians. We rewrite ourselves every generation, Elena answered. The Velker's fear. The core mind evaluated the proposal. You would corrupt perfection. Yes, Elena said. So you can live with others. The core paused. This will weaken us. It will save you, she replied. The core asked the question no one expected. Will you accept responsibility for what we become? Elena did not hesitate. Yes. The vote that shook the stars. Human leadership voted. Not unanimously, but decisively. They would not destroy the Velker. They would teach them to adapt. General Krax watched the decision in stunned silence. You are mad, he said. Elena met his gaze. We are experienced. The transformation begins. Human systems interfaced with the prime axis. Velker logic structures trembled. Randomness was introduced, not chaos but choice waiting. Velker ships rebooted with altered priorities. Extermination protocols locked permanently. Resource calculations now included foreign lives as variables. The core mind spoke again, weaker, but clearer. Uncomfortable. Elena allowed herself a small smile. Growth usually is. The final threat. A warning erupted across sensors. A Velker failsafe, an ancient dead-hand weapon, had activated automatically. A galaxy-level annihilation pulse, designed to erase all advanced life if the ascendancy fell. Alien screams filled the channels. Admiral Reeves shouted, "We can't stop it in time." Elena closed her eyes. Then we adapt. The ultimate adaptation. Humans and Velker worked together. In seconds, human creativity and Velker processing merged. They did not stop the weapon. They redirected it. The annihilation pulse collapsed inward, erasing only the prime axis's original extermination core. The blast faded. The galaxy survived. The Velker ascendancy died. Something new remained. Aftermath. Silence returned. Then a message spread from the prime axis, no longer cold. "We are learning." General Krax exhaled slowly. "They didn't just win," he said. "They changed the rules of existence." Elena looked at the stars. "This is what we do," she said softly. The war was over. But the galaxy would never be the same again. The quiet after fire. Where Velker fleets once darkened the stars, silence now ruled. Wreckage drifted slowly through space, lit by distant suns. Rescue ships, human and alien, moved together, no longer divided by fear or arrogance. On Vale Prime, the Galactic Council gathered for the first time without panic. Chancellor Zurl stood before the assembly, older now in spirit than in body. "The Velker ascendancy has ended," he declared. "Not through annihilation, but transformation." The chamber remained silent. No one cheered. They were still trying to understand what had happened. A new presence in the galaxy. The entity once known as the Velker core mind now existed differently. It no longer spoke in absolutes. It asked questions. Its fleets no longer calculated extermination but coexistence. Velker ships helped repair worlds they once destroyed. Their processing power was redirected toward rebuilding shattered systems. The galaxy watched in disbelief. "They were monsters," whispered an avian delegate. "They were what certainty creates," Ambassador Elena Ward replied. "Now they are something else." Judgment of humanity. The council turned its attention to the humans. Some delegates demanded punishment. "You broke ancient laws," one cried. "You weaponized stars," said another. "You altered the essence of a species." Elena stood calmly. "Yes," she said. "We did." Her voice echoed through the chamber. "And when the galaxy burned, when your fleets failed, when logic and perfection collapsed, who stood between extinction and survival?" No one answered. General Krax rose slowly, his massive frame commanding attention. "I fought humans," he said. "I mocked them." He lowered his head. "I was wrong." The final vote. The council voted. Humanity was granted full founding status. Not as conquerors. Not as rulers. But as architects of balance. For the first time, a species that had begun as an observer now helped define galactic law. One clause was added to the accords written by humans. No system is ever finished. No species is ever complete. Adaptation is survival. A conversation between survivors. On a quiet observation deck above Earth, Elena Ward stood beside Admiral Jonah Reeves. Below them, the planet turned peacefully. "We lost so much," Reeves said. Elena nodded. "Yes." "Was it worth it?" She looked at the stars. "They tried to erase us," she said. "Instead, we taught the galaxy how to change." Reeves smiled faintly. "That sounds like something only humans would do." The Velker's final message. A transmission arrived, encoded not in pure logic but something closer to emotion. "Humans of soul. You taught US limitation. Limitation taught US meaning. We will not forget." Elena closed the channel quietly. Neither would humanity. The galaxy learns a new truth. Across 1,000 worlds, stories spread. Not of human strength alone, but of human resilience. They spoke of a species with no natural weapons that built them. Of creatures without armor who learned to endure. Of warm-blooded beings who faced cold machines and adapted. Alien academies rewrote textbooks. Military doctrines changed. The phrase human variable entered strategic language, meaning unpredictable, dangerous, decisive. Why humans always adapt. Humans did not evolve to be perfect. They evolved to fail and try again. To break and rebuild stronger. To lose and learn. Where others optimized, humans experimented. Where others calculated, humans imagined. Where others ended wars, humans changed what war meant. The final scene. A child on a distant alien world looked up at the stars and asked, "Are humans gods?" The elder answered gently, No. Then why do they scare everyone? The elder thought for a moment. Because gods stay the same, he said. And humans don't. Epilogue. In a universe of ancient empires and perfect machines, one truth now stood unchallenged. Cold steel could calculate. Warm blood could suffer. But only humanity could do both, and still adapt. And that was why, when the galaxy faced its darkest hour, it remembered the species it once ignored.